Him here. We've got some really big stuff coming along, and it's outside our imagination. So this is really big stuff. As you know, as you are feeling, I know you're feeling it. What I want to do is just take you through, take you through today's chart and show you some of the things that are sitting in place now, and also to show you how they fit within a bigger picture that's leading to 2027 and beyond. So we have the Sun in gate 59. This is a gate of dissolving everything familiar. Trumpets, fanfare, everything familiar is being washed away out of your life at the moment. That's here, gate 59. Gate 55 is a gate that says we need to have on the inside. This is partly what I've been saying to you. It's so important that we go slow. I'll talk more about that. On the inside, we need to have insight, order, and discernment, because what we are doing is we are sitting on the verge of transition. We are developing new skills for being able to move forward from that place. And we have to have that order, insight, and discernment. These are new skills that we are developing in anchoring ourselves into a different kind of reality and understanding the strategy for making the really big changes that are coming. Part of the gate 55 energy is that we, let's see what I've got, networked leadership, working together to find solutions. Familiar landmarks are washed away, vital energy is released. We have here in the 55 dwarf planet called Gong Gong. Now, I'll put this on YouTube and I'll put the link to Gong Gong to the article underneath, or you can just search for Love Your Design Gong Gong or go on my blog and you'll find it. This is a planet that is about floods washing things away, right? Washing away the structure of the universe. So this idea of floods and things being washed away is really big at the moment. And it's not necessarily just a water kind of thing. It's really about structure dissolving. You might find inside of yourself, structure is dissolving as well, because here in the 37, Eris has been doing just phenomenally powerful work here in the 37. This is the internal structure of our psyche, the way in which we order, if you like, our internal family, and how that's reflected in our actual families, our actual friendships, all our relationships, going right out to the big picture of our society. So there is this internal restructuring going on as well that I'm sure you've noticed. Okay, Mercury up here in the 64. Okay, couple of things. One, Mercury is sitting opposite. This is an astrological opposition, what Gene Keys calls programming partners, and what I call complementary gates, because they're polarities, but they actually work together. So we've got the 63, and we have right here Nessus. Nessus is a centaur that deals with abusive family patterning. Things like it was very active in the chart of, what was his name? Jeffrey Epstein, for example. So where there is abuse, we can find Nessus being active. And Mercury is sitting right opposite that activation at the moment in these two 64, 63 gates, which are about transitioning into a new territory. So we are seeing it's not just sexual abuse, it's all kinds of power over that kind of, thing. I mean, it's subtle and it's also gross, so it goes through all levels. So Mercury is bringing that to light at the moment. Now, Mercury is going to drop down here into the 47. Let me check my notes. And on the 31st, it's going to be exactly conjunct Neptune in the 22. Okay, so again, programming partners or complementary gates. The 47 and the 22 are complementary. When Mercury goes into the 47 on the 29th of August, you're going to need a lot of quiet down time. Now, a lot of you are in lockdown, so that's not going to be a problem. But please be really, really tuned in between the 29th and the 1st to your mood and when you need time alone. That's going to be really important. This is an energy to get started, to explore. It's the energy of lighting up new beginnings. Now, I just want to be clear about this idea of new beginnings. This is a very, very early. Let me tell you a story. When I was in my 20s, I went to Greece and I got off the airplane, went into the airport and couldn't understand any of the signage because I hadn't realized in my naivety that they use a different alphabet. So I had the address of my hotel written down, but I was completely like, I don't even know how to find where I need to go or even to follow the signage in the airport. It's a little bit like that. It's like we've just landed and we can't even read the signs, right? It's that early in the piece. So our job now is not to find our way as we were in the old, but there's this transitional process now where we have to be really alert in a good way and take notice of, learn our way here. So Mercury is also bringing that kind of energy. If you have a look here at Neptune in the 22, you can see that we've also got the 12 here, and that is the North Node. Now, a couple of things about that. Firstly, the North Node shows on a global level in terms of where it's transiting. This is the place where all of humanity is on their evolutionary edge with their nose up against pushing. Like, here's where we're growing, here's where we're learning as, if you like, as a species in terms of human consciousness. This gate here says, and remember we've got Neptune here, so this gate here says when you are blocked, it's the gate of blockage, it means you're trying to push, you're trying to do things too quickly, you're trying to do things in incorrect ways, you're working against the flow. So it actually stops you and it says, please take some time to reevaluate. Now remember that the programming partner or the complementary gate for gate 22, which is where this energy is coming from, is up here in the 47, which says take some time out, spend some time by yourself, really get to know what's going on here for you. So this idea of taking time out and reevaluating is really powerful at the moment. The other thing I just want to show you is that 55 where the Earth is playing right up into this circuitry. And this is very much about your mood and your emotions. So you may feel a little bit more kind of, emotional wave, bigger than usual. Just let me check that 39. No, we don't need to go into there. Okay, so that's Mercury in the 64, activating the 22, and then the North Node in the 12. So what we are learning is that when we are blocked, we don't push through. We let it tell us that we need to reevaluate. We take that message on board. Now, the South Node is in 11.5 here. This is the galactic center. This is where new information feeds into our galaxy from beyond our universe. So this is activating all of the people who have this kind of off-Earth experience, this kind of, connection with other universes, other star systems, etc., being activated at the moment. That's a really powerful thing that's going on for people at the moment. And I'll talk more about that because that's really, really interesting to me. I've been watching this happening for a while. So what we've got is this sense of being on the verge of a transition. Let me follow down in my notes. Oh, I just wanted to tell you right here in the 22 is this lovely asteroid Fortuna. So this is telling us that we have good fortune when we are not trying to work towards any particular outcomes, because a lot of our outcomes are informed by the old structuring of reality, and this is a new structuring of reality. And here in the 12, we have chaos, which is, again, chaos represents the quantum vacuum field. This is from where we draw the new energy that we're going to be working with from now on. Okay, let's go down to Venus. Venus is here in the 53, which is just super amazing because she's sitting opposite Jupiter in the 54. Now I'm going to show you the 53 and the 54 complementary gates. They work together. The 42 and the 32, the same, complementary gates that work together. These two channels and me have been influencing the evolution of human consciousness for about 4 or 5 years now. Really, really powerful energies. And at the moment, here in the 32, we have dwarf planet, excuse me, hang on. Okay, dwarf planet Haumea in gate 32, and in the 42, dwarf planet Eris. Now, Haumea is about the birth of an entirely new consciousness. So we've got Jupiter activating this Haumea energy, and this is the channel that I've been talking about, where we need to weave into each day the beginnings of this new life. The way we work with this transitional energy is not go out and conquer the world, put our flag down, kill the natives, this is the old way. What we have to do now is very gently weave into each day that very grounded sense of who we are becoming, to kind of tease out what's of value to us, what we want to bring forward with us and what we want to leave behind, to grow into the people who we are going to become, who we are in the process of becoming. Eris is a gate of chaos. It catalyzes chaos. It's actually sitting in a square. Now, let me think. I don't want to give you the wrong information. I'm not going to give you that information. I'll put the link to the blog post about it down below in the YouTube, on the YouTube page. So what we have here, so Eris catalyzing chaos, and in particular, she's about how we come together, network with other people, find new solutions. She's the poster girl of systems theory. She shows up all the places in the system that those who are in power have tried to hide, and she's the mascot for whistleblowers. Okay, so think of her as a whistleblower, but also what she does is she brings people together to find new solutions, so new ways for us to come together. She is also represented by things like peer-to-peer networks, the kind of technology that a lot of software engineers, coders use in, how they've brought together things like Slack and, Asana and these kinds of tools that people use to work together across networks. That is the forerunner for technology that we're now bringing into our everyday life, and COVID has been a trigger for that. So COVID is part of the Eris plot to get us to use new social technologies. Okay, so Eris is sitting there, really, really big energy in terms of what's happening at the moment. Venus here in the 53, just really bringing attention to that Eris energy. Mars here in the 3. Now, I'll just say Venus and Jupiter, good fortune as well, good fortune. You don't have to try too hard. Things are going to drop in your lap, but you do need to pay attention. You do need to work with the energies. It's not just blobbing in front of Netflix and having another glass of Chardonnay. Okay, gate 3. Mars, I mentioned, is... Oh, no, I didn't. That was a previous version of the video that I had to trash. Okay, Mars is the driver of all of what's happening between now and the end of the year. Mars is about to go retrograde. Let me go to my Mars. Mars is about to go retrograde on the 13th of September. It will stay, I'm not sure when it goes direct. I haven't made a note of that, but I'm going to write a blog post about this, so all the details will be there if you want them. Now, it's in gate 3 now. Gate 3 is the gate of new beginnings, and it says be very, very careful when things are beginning, because you don't know what the pattern is yet, and you have to wait for the pattern to be revealed. There's that message again, right? So sitting in that gate, this is called sprouting. It's this, you put 1, the yang, 2, the yin together, and you get 3. People who work on the Big Bang, scientists who work at that level of exploring how the universe came into being, they almost always have gate 3 in their design. This is about the beginnings of new worlds, literally about the beginnings of new worlds. So what is going to happen? Mars is going to go back here to the 42, when it goes retrograde, and it will be exactly conjunct Eris on the 3rd of October. And it will stay there in that gate until the 23rd of December. Now, when it goes back over this, it's direct. It's direct there. So we've got 2 dates. We've got it's going retrograde on the 3rd of October and direct on the 23rd of December. They're the 2 dates it's going to hit on Eris here. So those 2 dates are going to be really important. Again, that'll be in the blog. Don't worry too much about it now. However, the thing about that is there is going to be, remember the whistleblower thing, Eris brings to transparency information that people want to keep hidden because they want you to look at things from their perspective, not your own. So it's this is what all this conspiracy theory and QAnon stuff is all about. We're all trying to find what is the truth if we look from our perspective? How can we have clarity to actually see the truth? It's a big deal, and again, I'm going to write more about that. This channel here, I'm not sure because I haven't written it down, but it has a connection astrologically with this one here. So let's go up here because this is where the fun starts to happen. Okay, so we've got this crazy lineup in the 61. We've got now Saturn and Pluto. Jupiter goes back up there again. Sorry, I don't have the dates, but soonish, in September sometime. Pluto transforms and Saturn is structure. So Pluto is deeply transforming structure. Both our internal psyche, the structure of our internal psyche, the structure of our day-to-day lives, and also the structure of things like government and society. So this whole process of transforming structure is really huge at the moment. And it's why we're getting this, breakdown of democracy and all that kind of stuff going on. Jupiter is going to go back up there as well. And when it does, we'll see religion come into the picture as well, because Jupiter is like the Pope or, the philosophy of religion. So we'll see things really start to speed up there when Jupiter goes back up there. Here in the 24, we've got Uranus. Now, Uranus is sudden, unexpected events, revolution, and also individuality, so freedom, liberty, freedom, equality, fellowship, networking, all this kind of stuff. The thing about Uranus is it makes things really unstable because it brings change that is just so new, so novel that we hadn't seen it coming. So think about those revolutions, in particular, for example, the French Revolution, which came just after Uranus was discovered, and that sweeping away of that old form of government. So we've got that kind of energy coming. And then we have to find ways to build, to rebuild, to replace what was the old energy that was lost. So that's that thing about vital energy becoming available. Okay, so far so good. Let's have a look underneath. So here in the 61, okay, so we have a little break there, but I'm back. We have here Chariklo. Now, Chariklo is a centaur, and I'm just going to give you some information that Zane Stein, who is a researcher who does a lot of work with minor planets, has figured out about Chariklo. It's about people who have technology for the future. So Nikola Tesla, for example, with his free energy devices. And he just gives a long list of people who have Chariklo. Sir Francis Bacon, Steven Spielberg, science fiction is part of it as well. Steven Spielberg, H.G. Wells, Isaac Asimov, Michael Crichton, Ursula Le Guin, Aldous Huxley, almost every regular cast member in Star Trek, true. And this, I love this, every actor who has played Doctor Who. They all have really important Chariklo connections in their, well, he does astrology, so it's in their astrology chart. Chariklo is about going beyond existing reality, and it's particularly about technology. And it's particularly about technology that we draw from the natural laws and the way that it empowers the individual. Okay, I just So that's really huge. What that tells me, the fact that Shariklo is up here with all of this going on, is that we have technology that, if we go back to Eris, that has been kept out of the public domain, because obviously those who are making a lot of money from the current system don't want that kind of technology to be available. And I mean, if you just look at the kind of technology that Nikola Tesla brought through 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, that technology is there. So, and the social technologies are being developed, etc. So there's all of this new technology that is coming through at the moment. And I think Mars is actually going to activate the release of that information. Let's have a look here at 24, because what we have here is Albion, which is a trans-Neptunian object, a kind of a almost a dwarf planet. It is actually a dwarf planet, just hasn't been classified because they haven't done the paperwork yet. Albion represents a shift in the zeitgeist. Albion is a culture shifter. It represents the place where people come together as a group and completely change things. And then by completely changing things, it changes individual lives. So this kind of this figure eight thing, it's like we change the culture changes us, that kind of thing. Very powerful energy. Albion showed up in every pandemic that I went and looked at, the Black Death, SARS. Albion was involved in every single pandemic, and every single pandemic that we've had has shifted culture in some really significant way. So all of that. Now, I just wanted to, and Saturn as well, just a note I've got here. Saturn is about apparent reality, and Uranus is about the breakdown of apparent reality. I want you to think about this in a multidimensional level, because what we're doing at the moment, one more thing I wanted to say to you about this. What was that? It'll come to me in a sec. What we're doing at the moment is, I know what it was. What we're doing at the moment is we're shifting out of our existing version of reality and into a new one. Now, a lot of people think that 2027, the human design 2027 thing, is about Uranus, but it's not. It's about Pluto. It gets triggered when Pluto goes into gate 41, which is the only start gate in the human design chart. Pluto, back in 2005, Pluto was redesignated as a dwarf planet rather than a planet. And the reason that happened is because Pluto was reclassified as being a Kuiper belt object rather than a classical planet. Now, the Kuiper belt objects are those objects that are out past Neptune, and it's all these new dwarf planets that are being discovered, including Haumea. Remember, we met her down here, and Eris here in the 42, and a whole heap of others, Maki, which is just really active also, but we don't have time to talk about him today. So Pluto, what Pluto is doing is opening us up to a greater version of reality that exists out past Neptune. And think about Neptune here with the North Node, new horizons, evolutionary edge. Neptune represents the old spirituality. Neptune will get an upgrade too, don't worry about Neptune, but it represents the old spirituality where we have duality, we have mind-body separation, we have, work week, weekend, different personalities. We have all of these dualities which are coming together now. And I just want to leave you with a Hermann Hesse quote, which is something I've been saying for so long. And this, I'm very excited about all this. Our mind is capable of passing beyond the dividing line that we have drawn for, okay, I can't actually read my writing. Okay, but beyond the pole, can I just start again? Our mind is capable of passing beyond the dividing line we have drawn for it. So in other words, there's a line, and on the other side of that is some new kind of mind. Beyond the pole of opposition, other new insights begin. I just want to explain that. We tend to, in the patriarchy, think in straight lines. That quote was that didn't really work, did it? In the patriarchy, we think in straight lines. Okay, I'm here. I want to get there. What are the steps? Like, that's how we have been taught to think. But in fact, we're actually having to learn to integrate back into that the different kind of thinking that comes with the feminine, which is kind of circular. And if you put the straight line and the circle together, you get this spiraling motion. And in that spiraling motion, what we have is a constant moving between the polarities. So we're able to embrace hot and cold and find the warm place, if I can just put it that simply. If we think in polarities, we lose almost everything except those two end points. And that's where we're living at the moment. And it's why, as we start to swing at the tipping point between those two polarities, what we're going to break into is an entirely new reality that is complementary of those two polarities. And boom, everything that sits in the relationship of those two poles comes into being. So it's like a whole new universe opens up for us, almost literally. So that's where we're going at the moment. And I expect to see between now and the end of the year all kinds of things drop in regard to opening us up to an entirely different way of perceiving reality, and particularly for us to come together and work together in order to be able to create wonderful new outcomes for each other. And just to finish up, something I wanted to mention about Gate 42 that's really important. Gate 42 is the gate of flow and increase, and it says you do not have to control the flow, you just have to have the tools to work with it. So think about what's coming through your life at the moment and what skills you need to be able to work with that incredible energy, rather than try to control it, because if you try and control it, it's just going to walk over the top of you. You just let it flow through your life, let it be, and dance with it. It's all about learning to be with the flow of abundance. Okay, long video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.